Hello viewers from wherever you're watching us from. You're watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting live from our studios here on Karaba Avenue. My name is Aliu Sise, and this is your weekly State of Affairs program. Well, my guest this week is the first Deputy National President of the National People's Party, who also currently serves as the Gambia's Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Demba Sabally. Honorable, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much, Aliu, for the invitation. Happy to be here.
Well, in the next 55 minutes, as you are aware, the NPP, that's the ruling National People's Party, has launched its manifesto 2027-2031. And of course, highlighting their 9-point plan. And of course, coming up with new innovation, digital platforms that for the first time I'm witnessing in the history of Gambian politics. But equally, we cannot allow the minister to leave the studio without touching a little bit on agriculture, as we are already in the farming season. Honorable, like I said, once again, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Sure.
Your party, the NPP, the president says, the 9-point plan is not just another manifesto, but a blueprint for the next phase of national development. Why should Gambians believe this plan will be different from the promises you have made so far?
Thank you very much, Aliu, and I thank all our viewers, viewers of QTV, and of course all the NPP viewers specifically for tuning in to discuss on issue relating to the manifesto of the National People's Party. The NPP manifesto, like we said in its opening, it is not just a political gimmick. It is just not a political document. The manifesto is a covenant. It is the agreement between His Excellency the President, the ruling NPP, and the people of the Gambia. And your question as why should we believe in what is in the manifesto vis-a-vis the promises made. Aliu, I can tell you, in fact, His Excellency the President has delivered on almost every promise he made during the 2021 election, and even exceeded expectation. So there is no reason for any Gambian who reads this manifesto to have an iota of doubt. The manifesto is practical, it is applicable, it is forward-looking, and it is modern. And it is for us, it is like the Bible of the party. It is our working theory. This is our covenant between the party and the population.
So what are the key priority areas as far as the manifesto is concerned? Of course, the 9-point plan.
Yes. I think the manifesto 9-point plan is very self-explanatory. The priority is good governance, and that is number one.
Yeah.
Good governance is our priority. And I think in the opening statement of the manifesto, it says a peaceful, democratic, and all-inclusive Gambian population. And I think that is for us, that is the opening and closing, because we have to have a very peaceful, democratic society where it is institutionally led. In our manifesto, we made it very clear that we do not need strong men in governance. We need strong institutions. And I think that is going to be, it has been the face of the government of His Excellency, but it's going to continue to be the face of the government, that this government is going to focus on building institutions. And with strong institutions, our democracy is going to take root. And it is, in fact, the most important legacy of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, to develop institutions that are going to hold accountable whatever government is going to be in place, going to hold accountable citizens for their actions. And I think that is the greatest legacy of the president.
So how did you reach this point to highlight this 9-point? How did you get to this point to say, okay, this is going to be our 9-point plan as far as this manifesto is concerned?
Yeah, actually, we looked at all the sectors. His Excellency convened a committee, and I'm sure you were present at the launching. And we looked at all the sectors and all the facets of life of the Gambian person. And we came up with the most important ones. And these are like good governance, healthcare, agriculture, environment, security and peace, digital transformation. So these are important priorities among priorities, but they are fundamental. And if you look at the 9-point, there's nothing else left. to look at. I mean, it's so inclusive that this is what the entire package is. And once you read this, you understand. In fact, if you look at the manifesto, it talks about what the government of President Barrow has done from 2021 to 2026. And now piggybacks on that, move you, just seamlessly transition you to what his government will do from January of 2027 all the way to December 2031. So it gives you like a journey. Explain, okay, this is what the government has done. When you talk about good governance, it talks about what the government has done about good governance for the last 5 years. Then it now moves you to what the government intends to do, like making sure the Anti-Corruption Commission is not only a legislation, but it's operationalized.
And talking about the achievements under good governance, it says the NPP-led government has strengthened transparency, accountability, and citizen-centered service delivery across all levels of governance.
Exactly. And that's true, because if you look at the past 5 years, services of the government have been very citizen-centered. I mean, and transparency is at the extreme. If you look at the public procurement, especially under this government, it is way different from what used to obtain. And the standards are being improved. Looking at the GPPA Act, it's really eye-catching. And the Public Finance Act, if you look at all these acts, the public finance, the way it is managed in this country is unlike so many other places. Of course, there is a lot of noise about corruption, but these are just allegations, most of them. Of course, we have cases that have gone beyond allegation, and government have taken steps and have prosecuted people for that.
So with all these achievements, what do you think this manifesto will change as far as good governance and all transparency is concerned?
What this manifesto will change is going to improve on whatever spot we are at today. Let's say, for example, when you talk about agriculture, for example, the manifesto clearly talk about food, rice self-sufficiency by 2030. 2030 is very measurable. I mean, we will get to 2030 at some point. And so since it is so measurable, it's something that citizens can hold people accountable. And not only that, if you look at institutional building under good governance, it clearly stipulates what is achievable, what citizens can now say, okay, you had this in your manifesto. Look, before this, political parties will just go around and make pronouncement and talk. But this is a covenant that citizens can hold us accountable at some point between 2027 and 2031.
Yeah, because I have the manifesto here, and under agriculture, the way forward, 2027, 2021, it says, building on the achievements that you just highlighted, the NPP will implement a bold and transformational agricultural agenda focused on self-sufficiency, commercialization, modernization, youth and women empowerment, climate resilience, and inclusion of the differently abled. But one will say, why didn't the NPP government implement some of these things?
Well, everything.
Or wasn't able to fully implement some of this?
Exactly. Yeah. Most of these things that are in the manifesto have already started. And that's why in the manifesto, we highlight what was achieved between 2021 to 2026, and then say the way forward, that is 2027 to 2031. So just because it's in the manifesto doesn't mean it has not been done. We intend to do it. No. Most of these things have been started. We intend to mature them. We intend to move along with them into the 2027-2031 term of His Excellency the President. But these are achievements that have not been entirely achieved. It's a work in progress. Since it is a work in progress, it is important not only for the population, but for us, the policy makers, those in government, to remind themselves that, okay, you have done so much, but this is exactly where you need to be. Since you have not been there yet, then this is the book that is supposed to remind you as a minister, as a director, as a policy maker. This is supposed to be your agreement with the population.
So will the NPP, under this manifesto, commit to any sort of measurable service delivery targets for ministries and agencies? Yes. Sometimes that seems to be lacking.
Yes, actually, I think during the last Mansakunda, you had Dr. Samada even mentioned it. Yeah. The Ministry of Public Service is just in the process of introducing performance contract. And the performance contract is going to be between His Excellency the President and the Cabinet Ministers. And there will be performance contract between the Cabinet Ministers and their permanent secretaries. And this is going to trickle down all the way to the staff of agencies, ministries, and departments. So in this manifesto, as part of the delivery, performance contract is one thing that is very practical and is very measurable. So the manifesto is going to kind of be almost like the balancing out. That these were your promises, and this is what you delivered. Are they measurable? Are they a match? Have you delivered what you promised? And if you have not, it means you have failed as a policymaker or you failed as a technician.
Yeah, because on the health and social protection, like I said, I mean, I have the manifesto here. I've been reading it all for the past few days. And then on the health, I'm saying, you know, you're committing to reduce maternal mortality by 30%, and under 5 mortality by 40% through what you call, I mean, strengthening, I mean, productivity, of course, I mean, neonatal and emergency care services.
Exactly. And that is being done because if you observe the healthcare system today, they are building one of the most modern health facilities in the Gambia, in Farato. The primary healthcare, which is the supply of basic medicaments in the facility, and also the training of at least the basic, let's say the registered nurses, the nurse midwives, posting them to the health centers, making sure ambulance services are available, making sure that the road access is available. All these have something to do with healthcare. These are practically going to reduce maternal mortality. We had the stories of women coming on donkey carts in the Badibus going to Kerewan Health Center. We had this at the Mansakunda.
In Nyamina.
Yes, okay, like in Nyamina. Yeah. Now, these are areas where you have community ambulances. I mean, once you have a lot of community ambulances, all these health centers that are being built are staffed with competent nurse midwives and potentially with medical doctors. This is significantly going to reduce maternal mortality rate. It is significantly going to reduce mortality of under 5s. So as a target, when we say we are going to reduce maternal mortality by 40% and mortality of under 5s by 40%, the numbers are there. Currently, everybody knows what is the maternal mortality rate in this country. This is public information. 2 years, 3 years down the road, you can go to the Ministry of Health and say, look, the manifesto said 40% from 2027 to 2031. You were at this rate, now where are you? So it is for us to be accountable.
According to the manifesto, I mean, your party has pointed to, like you said, I mean, major achievements. I mean, of course, including what you call, I mean, over 1,200 kilometers of roads, I mean, 424 schools, 24 health facilities, and of course, electricity access to several communities that were without. I mean,
90% of the population.
So why do you think some Gambians still feel that the pace of development is not enough?
Yes, you know, development, if you talk to economists, they will tell you, the more you do, the more it will be demanded. When I was a kid, or years ago, nobody will go around this country and expect somebody in a village beyond Bondali or in Nyabina will insist on a tar road. I mean, hardly do people talk about we want electricity outside of the combos. It wasn't something that people asked for. But because they've seen this thing is being done, His Excellency has built roads in the North Bank, you know, in CRR North, in the URR bridges. So it's like, wow, this thing is doable. So if people in URR get high quality road bridges, I mean, why would people in CRR not ask for it? Why would people in Badibu not ask for it? So the more you do, the more people ask for it. I mean, and it's not going to end. Electricity is almost 90%, and it is the same target that we have, access to education, access to social protection. All these things, right now, over 20,000 families are being disbursed monthly cash in this country. Because it's a success story, nobody talks about it. I mean, how many women entrepreneurs have been empowered into this? How many youth? But just because you do more, it means the more will be requested. But the purpose of the manifesto is to explain we did this much and we intend to do A, B, and C and hold us accountable if we don't.
So what's your response to those who said, okay, despite all these achievements, the issue of quality is something that people are still, I mean, questioning? I mean, we've just witnessed the first rains, and then people have even started pointing to the roads that have been constructed under the NPP. They're even questioning the quality, that already, you know, the roads are getting flooded. I mean, health facilities, they said, yes, I mean, you have the health facilities, but they talk about quality service in these hospitals. Among many other things as well.
You know, these are the things that you expect from opposition, Aliu. I mean, you cannot have an opposition in a country, an opposition like the one we have. They will focus on only the negatives. Yes, The roads
But isn't that the role of opposition? Because that's what we are meant to believe.
Yes, that's what we are meant to believe.
Yeah.
But opposition, once it is credible, is also supposed to talk about things that have worked. It will give that image that this is potentially going to be a responsible government. Because if roads like the OIC highway, I mean, nobody will question its quality.
But that's going to be in your favor to talk about the good things that you have done. I mean,
yes,
they intend to unseat you. So.
I understand. They intend to unseat us. Yes. They will talk about the negative. But once they talk about the bad stuff, at some point, if they talk about, well, they have done this good. The population is a very smart population that we have. They're going to say, look, I think these people their mindset is very positive. When the government does really good, they will say, wow, this one is good. So escalate this, do more of this. When it is bad, then they criticize. But the kind of opposition we have, only thing they focus on is the negativity. And not only because they focus on negativity, they thrive on that. And for them, it gives them joy. Let's say, for example, in the last few weeks, this electricity problem in the country. I mean, how many oppositions are going down politicizing the electricity problem in this country, making it look like there has never been electricity in this country. I mean, the expansion for up to 90% of the population being covered is something that they don't even appreciate or talk about, which is fine. They are opposition. They may not talk about the good thing that is happening. But to question the quality of the roads in this country, I'll advise them to check in other countries what level of roads they have. One thing I know, I'm not an engineer to determine or defend this. However, the quality of roads I have seen here is comparable to roads I have seen in many other countries, and I've traveled to over 100 countries.
So why are the roads flooded then? Why are they getting flooded?
Well, I don't know if you just checked last week, roads in Ghana flooded, even their university flooded, and it's definitely public, it's online. So, look, floods will occur. I mean, whether the roads were there or not, floods will occur. And the ministry responsible is doing everything to mitigate flood impact. And I know the road, that specific road that you are talking about, it's been just that one that they went and took a video and they're circulating everywhere. I mean, how many roads have been built? I mean, there's hundreds of roads. I mean, only 1, 2, or 3 out of the hundreds of roads that were built just flooded, and they're making force out of that. Yes, it's unfortunate that that road from Sukuta going all the way to Nemajola, that is the road that they've been sharing the videos about. NRA is aware, Honorable Silla and his ministry is aware, and they are doing everything possible to mitigate the impact on the community.
Critics argue that under the NPP government, credit to President Barrow, I mean, we have seen significant improvement as far as infrastructure is concerned. But what many are saying is that economic hardship still remains, I mean, for many ordinary Gambians. How does the 9-point plan address the cost of living crisis that we are experiencing?
Right. Look, I agree with you. Cost of living is a challenge, and it's a challenge because of global realities. It's not a challenge peculiar to only Gambia. I mean, the cost of rice is not higher in the Gambia compared to the neighboring countries or the neighboring or the sub-region. The cost of electricity, and this you can go and Google this, you can go this public. The cost of electricity in West Africa, Gambia is not in the first 5 as far as the highest tariff is concerned. I mean, these are expensive, that's true, but they're not more expensive in the Gambia compared to everywhere else. So these are global realities, these are global challenges, and Gambia is no exception. However, Government of His Excellency is fully aware of this, and that's why government is taking mitigating actions. One, the most vulnerable of society are being dished out with monthly cash allocation to help them cushion the suffering that they will go through because of economic hardship. The government is investing heavily in agriculture to make sure our food comes from locally produced so that it has no impact on geopolitical affairs. But that aside, government is highly subsidizing the energy sector, and I'm sure you are aware of this. The reason for subsidizing the energy sector is to cushion the pain on the society. The government is highly subsidizing the fuel, that's petrol and diesel, and all that is meant to cushion the hardship that society probably would have gone through had diesel not been cushioned or subsidized the way it is subsidized. So if you imagine, yes, Cost of living. Now, government is subsidizing fertilizer. Government is subsidizing groundnut. Government is subsidizing NAWEC. Government is subsidizing fuel, that is petrol and diesel. And the healthcare cost in this country is cheaper than any country in the sub-region. So, yes, there is hardship challenge in the population. It's not peculiar to only Gambia, and it is not worse in Gambia more than any other country. And government is taking steps, and these ones I just mentioned, these are just few among a lot of other things that government is doing.
So looking back at President Barrow's administration in the past 10 years, or should I say 9 years, I mean, what will you say, I mean, is the biggest unfinished business that require another mandate?
A lot of things are there that requires another mandate. One is the institutional building. I mean, His Excellency is focused on very serious reforms. And most of those reforms are not completed yet.
What are these reforms? Name us one or two.
Well, we are working on this anti-corruption crusade. Okay. And anti-corruption crusade includes making sure that the Anti-Corruption Commission is up and running. And I think that process is on.
Why is it taking the government long to establish the Anti-Corruption Commission?
Well, it's not taking the government long. It is a process, and these processes have timelines. Candidates have been identified, submitted to National Assembly, and then the process is ongoing. I don't think there is any delay in this. It's an issue of process, and we are following process. And had we not followed process also, it is the same opposition that would go and accuse us of having just put stooges there or put people who are pro-Barrow. And that's why we follow processes that are prescribed in the act itself by the National Assembly. And other things that you say that are unfinished as far as reforms, access to information. I mean, I know there is the commission is in place now, but still it's a work in progress. And there are other reforms that are needed that the Barrow government is on. But also all the infrastructure works that the Barrow government has started in agriculture, in roads, in education, in energy. These are unfinished businesses. And I think these and millions of other reasons are there to re-elect President Barrow for another mandate.
Isn't this something that another candidate or another party can come and continue?
No, another party may not continue because every government has its own priorities. I mean, this may not be their priority, but for us, this is Barrow and his government, this is our priority. So this may not be their priority, so we cannot guarantee that they may continue it.
Well, I mean, on youth matters and of course youth employment, empowerment is very much captured in this manifesto. I mean, just share with us, I mean, beyond just training programs, which is highlighted in this document, where exactly will the jobs come from?
In fact, if you look on the agriculture, our goal is self-employment programs. That is the potential to create jobs, like hundreds of thousands of jobs in processing, in production, and in marketing, in agriculture is very real. And I think that's our focus, to create a lot of high pay, high input jobs in agriculture. And I think that is very realistic. And that aside, the level of support in agriculture, let's say for the matching grant, even just this week, we dish out over 118 individual matching grant and about 26 group matching grant. All these individuals is automatically with the matching grant, you are self-employed and potentially you are going to employ another one. And for the last 3-4 years, we've given over 1,000 matching grant to individual and nearly 2,000 or 3,000 group members as beneficiaries of matching grant. All these matching grant beneficiaries automatically become self-employed, and potentially now most of them has employed 1, 2, 3, or even 4 or 5 people. So these are places where jobs can seriously be created. The energy expansion that His Excellency has done, over 90% of the population have now energy access. In the past, how many welder men, how many people have moved back to Nyamina or back to Bondali who were stuck in this urban area? Now, how many jobs have been created? Let's say for CRR alone, how many new jobs have been created because of the energy expansion? I mean, it's in thousands. I know the same in the West Coast and in the URR. So these are areas where these jobs are very real. I mean, people who go to the countryside, like one day I was talking to my father, he said in their village, I mean, the number of weldermen that has gone back to their village, the number of young people that have left the urban area and have gone back to their village to go back onto agriculture and to do horticulture. I mean, it's in hundreds of them. So it's been quantified by the Ministry of Trade, responsible for employment. But all I know is the opportunity in agriculture, in energy, and in other sectors, let's say the productive sectors, is in hundreds of thousands.
So how many jobs does the NPP realistically expect to create under this plan?
Well, I think our past 5 years, I think it was pronounced that we intended to make 150,000 jobs. And I think the census and records have shown that we exceeded that even before the end of 2026. I think the records are there. There are opposition members who are questioning the records itself. However, we found it to be very credible. It is coming from an independent source that is not central government related. And we intend to create nothing less than 150,000 jobs for the next 2027, 2031.
But many young Gambians continue to seek opportunities abroad.
Yes, that's true. But that is not peculiar to Gambia. I mean, it is a phenomenon. Migration is a human nature. There has been migration for the past million years, and it will continue. When I migrated to the United States, I went there as a graduate. I went there not because I did not have a job in the Gambia. There are people living in the Gambia, going to Barclay, who are police officers. There are people who are living, who are currently employed or self-employed. So just because people are going...
There are also people who are going for training and absconding.
Yes, exactly. That's true. We've seen the immigration officers.
Yeah.
But just to buttress the point is...
So isn't that a justification that so many people think there's no hope back home?
No, but now, if you also look at how many people are returning to the Gambia. I mean, I'm one of the returnees. President Barrow is one of the returnees. Yeah. And hundreds of other people. There are people who had hope in this country that they can come home and make it. And they came home and they made it. And they even employed other people. So don't look at it just the outbound young population that we have people that are going because they don't have hope. If you look at it from the perspective of how many hundreds of thousands of people returning from Europe and the United States that are building houses and living in this country because they think they can make it here. In fact, how many non-Gambians have come into the Gambia because they are getting jobs in this country? If they did not get jobs, nobody's feeding them, nobody's housing them. These people are coming here because the opportunities exist. So it is about looking for the opportunity. But I know as far as the government of President Barrow is concerned, is extremely concerned about youth empowerment. And that is why today, as we speak, over 60% of all the young people going to the UTG, they are under the scholarship of the government of President Barrow. Yeah,
and one case I have to admit here is a case of one young Gambian in Basse who traveled to Canada for studies and came back and opened a restaurant in Basse. And she's doing wonders there. I did a story on her while on a trek with the president. But one of the most talked about innovation during the manifesto, Honorable, was the introduction of these digital platforms. I mean, I saw something like Ask Barrow AI tool.
Yes.
Why did the NPP decide, to introduce this artificial intelligence into our political engagement?
Transparency. You see?
I attempted to use it yesterday, and it worked.
Exactly, it will work. It's not a farce. It is that's why I say this manifesto is very real and it's very practical. So the digital platform, which is Ask Barrow AI, is meant to create interaction between the citizens and the NPP, but also between the citizens and their leader, that is His Excellency the President. So if you have a question, you go onto the digital platform and you ask Barrow. Once you set in your question, you will get some answers. And I think this is a very good thing. And these questions, down the road as a party, we will be looking at them and seeing some of the most important ones, even escalate them to President Barrow himself, that these are questions that are coming over and over and over and over, and they're coming from the citizens.
Yeah, because right now I'm just on the Ask Barrow, and I said, what does the NPP stand for? And he said, the National People's Party, built for every Gambian. The National People's Party stands for peace, progress, and unity. So it's giving you what the NPP is all about,
exactly,
as far as its vision and values are concerned.
Yes.
But, is this a campaign gimmick or just a genuine governance tool?
Oh, yes. This is a genuine governance tool. You see, for campaign gimmicks would have been something that opposition would have been talking about and then force us to get there. I will say it's just for political gimmicks. Nobody ever even thought of this in the opposition cycle. Nobody. This is not something that while we are on tour, Meet the People tour, the population asks for it. No. This is an initiative purely from the mind of His Excellency President Adama Barrow as a way to narrow the gap between government and its people, between the leader and the people he is leading. And that is why this platform is up and running. And this has nothing to do with campaign gimmicks. This is purely an NPP and President Barrow initiative to make sure that he interacts with the people. And like I said, we will be monitoring these questions, and there will be some questions that will be popping up over and over and over, and those ones we will think these are extremely important, and we will escalate it to the level of the
So I mean, how can we trust the information generated from the, of course, Ask Barrow AI accurately, that it truly reflects, the government policy or that of the president's view?
Well, I want to assure you,
in this era of misinformation and disinformation,
right.
So
yeah, well, I want to assure you and the viewers that Ask Barrow AI is a platform that is initiated and built by the NPP, and the data where your answers will be generated from is loaded by the NPP, and the information is very credible and it is very dependable. I'll advise every citizen to use the platform Ask Barrow AI, and if you have any further question about NPP, please, you are welcome to come to the NPP regional bureaus if you are in the rural area, or come to the NPP national bureau at Bundung, and we will be happy to talk to you, talk you through our manifesto, and talk you through our covenant with the Gambian population.
The other thing is that the manifesto is translated into an audio format in all the local languages.
Yes. It's smart. You see, what this thing shows is...
Who came up with this idea? Like I said, this is the first time, I'm witnessing this in our political history, yes, honestly.
Exactly. It is President Barrow who came up with this idea. He tasked us as a committee, say, go and get this thing done. So how you get it done would depend on the committee and the technical resources we use. But the idea came from him, that he wants every Gambian to be able to participate in the political process. And that is why once you open the manifesto on your phone or on your tablet, you should be able to choose from any language. And most of the languages spoken in the Gambia are covered, all the 5 major languages. And
it covers Mandinka, Wolof, yes, Fula, Sarahule.
Yes.
Yeah. Jola as well.
Exactly. So what that tells you is narrowing the gap between the leadership and the population. And this is entirely an initiative of the president. He led this discussion. He tasked us to develop this, and we got it done. And definitely, I think the Gambian population is happy to have this, because now they can listen in their own language and will be able to take us to task.
How long did it take you to develop this manifesto? And of course, the website itself, npp.gm.
Yes, actually, it's 6 months or thereabout. We had a committee that we've been meeting days, sometimes at night, sometimes during weekend. And in fact, sometimes we will go to the president during weekend to engage him for guidance, that we have done A, B, and C, advise us on this stage.
Even weekends?
Yes.
And also to eat mbahal with him, yes, while you are discussing the... he loves mbahal, so...
Yes, he does. He loves mbahal, but that is only Friday.
Yeah, okay.
So, but the weekend is something else different, not mbahal.
Okay.
But yes,
it's Barokunda anyway.
Yeah, it's a process that took a little above 6 months, and a team of nearly 10, 11 people, definitely.
So, in this era of digital age, maybe someone in the provinces who doesn't have access to internet, how do you ensure they're also able to access this? Can they download the manifesto?
Yes, the manifesto is downloadable. In fact, there's a link that you can just click. It will lead you directly to the manifesto. And that link, but for people who don't have internet, NPP have regional bureaus. Unlike so many of the briefcase political parties that are going around, we have regional bureaus in every party.
We have briefcase political parties?
Yes, we do.
But these are registered political parties. I understand we now have 21 plus.
Yes, I'm happy you said a plus. Yes, we have 21 plus registered political parties and 20 or so so-called movements, and that's fine. What it shows, you see, we should give credit to President Barrow for creating the enabling environment for all these parties to register and thrive, go around the country, talk what makes sense and sometimes what makes less sense, but still the environment is made conducive for them. I mean, these were people who ran away and abandoned us and abandoned this country for the comfort of the West because it was hot. But now it is conducive for them to register parties and movements and go around and express what they intend to do to the population. That's because the environment is great.
A day after launching the manifesto, on Saturday you hosted that many will say arguably is one of the biggest political rallies so far we have seen this year. What message was the NPP trying to send through that event?
The message is very clear, that for us, President Barrow is our candidate for December 5th, 2025, and NPP...
Oh, he's going for third term?
Yes, of course. It is 100%. President Barrow is going to be our candidate December 5th, 2026, us, the NPP, and our alliance parties. And that was the intent of the meeting in Brikama, and I think the message was very clear. To all those who were naysayers or sitting over the fence, to make it very clear that for us we are prepared. And like he always say, he is standing in the ring, waiting for whoever will come next, and then we can go ahead and have our election. We want Gambians to go out and vote peacefully, and protect our democracy and our peace. But yes, the message of that rally was, we are the biggest and most organized political party in this country. And I think that is very evident. We even challenge anybody to go out there and convene a rally of that magnitude. Nobody can, and I don't think anybody will even imagine doing that.
So do you believe, I mean, this year's campaign should focus more on records and policies than just, character assassination and, saying all sort of, defamatory remarks against opponents?
There will be a mix. For us as NPP, we are the ones who have policies to defend. The opposition has no policy to defend.
But why do you spend most of your time during rallies hitting at the opposition, Usainu Dabo this passing that? Isn't that a waste of time, I mean, for a sitting government? You have so much to discuss about your developments and all those things than just focusing on individuals.
Yeah, like I said, Ali, it's only President Barrow and the government who have development to defend.
Exactly.
Who have policies to defend. However, we have personal integrities also to defend. The opposition is busy character assassinating the president, the ministers, especially us, the political ministers who are into politics also. There are ministers who may not be into politics.
But why? I don't understand.
Well,
you can't be a minister in a cabinet. That's a political office. You are there because the NPP is in government.
Yes.
So how comes, you are in cabinet and you don't want to be part of politics?
I'm not saying they don't want to be part of politics. They may not be as active as Ahmadu Ba, Ibrahim Asilla, Dr. Sabally.
So what's the difference?
No, I mean, they are doing their thing in their own ways, and they are doing their quota in their best possible effort. So we are not minimizing anybody's effort. But what I'm saying, I mean, you yourself, the opposition focuses more on character assassinating ministers who are in the political field, ministers who go to the platforms and talk back to them. So that is why when you hear us like almost similar to character assassinating other opposition leaders, it's because we are responding to what they said. We just do not jump and say Usainu Dabo this or Mama Kande that out of the blue. We always say A, B, and C as a response to what they said. I mean, how can you sit down and allow Usainu Dabo to go and take a video in a dark room, I mean, pretending as if the whole country is in darkness, when you can see a bulb of light behind him?
But maybe he's using solar.
I mean, if he's using
solar...
How so
are you that he's not using solar?
I'm not sure if he wasn't using solar. That I cannot be sure. But what does he gain by portraying this thing so miserable, as if this country is so much like in a graveyard? I mean, when it actually wasn't like that. I mean, this country has had electricity stable, I mean, for the past 3-4 years. And not a single day has even ever tried to give that credit to the president or the government. Just because we have a technical or whatever glitch that has occurred, and government machinery from the president to the last person is doing whatever it takes to ensure electricity supply goes back to normal or even better. I mean, they are portraying it to be like a doomsday scenario. It is not.
During the rally, I mean, all the speakers, including you, emphasized that, I mean, unity within the Grand Alliance is very important. How confident are you that the alliance will remain intact throughout the election cycle?
Definitely. There is not an iota of doubt about the unity of the alliance. I mean, there is no indication that anybody in the alliance, especially the leadership of the political parties that are in the alliance, there is not an iota of doubt about their commitment to the alliance with His Excellency President Barrow and the NPP. So that is not even in our discussion, whether the alliance is solid or not. That we've passed that stage. All these parties have gone around the country. They have consulted their people. I mean, you were a witness of APRC going around consulting their people. And I think it's the same with NRP, Citizen Alliance, NCP, and all that. They've consulted their people. And the fundamentals are, look, we still have confidence in His Excellency President Barrow's leadership and the leadership of party-led, NPP-led alliance, and they are sticking to it. In the event that President
Barrow just wake up and said, I'm not going for a third term, is the NPP prepared to bring in another formidable candidate?
We don't foresee...
Is there any succession plan?
Well, look, succession plan are internal issues.
Okay.
And as a senior party member, I am not going to sit here on television and discuss internal issues of the National People's Party. Succession plan or none of or otherwise is something that we discuss when we have a meeting at the National Executive, and those files are kept there. So that is not something that we want to discuss here. But let me just make one point clear. Let nobody have any doubt, an iota of doubt, about the candidacy of President Barrow on December 5th. That one is not in question.
One thing he has always emphasized is the need for unity among party supporters. And of course, those at the top to treat everyone equal within the party.
Right.
I mean, I have spoken to some NPP supporters who are die-hard supporters of President Barrow. But many seem to be very much somehow disappointed that despite being there for many years supporting the NPP, genuinely supporting the president, some still believe they are being sidelined. What's your response to those kind of people who believe they are being sidelined?
I don't want to downplay their feelings. And in fact, it's very unhelpful as a politician or as a party to downplay the feeling of the grassroots.
Okay.
If they feel so, it's unfortunate. There is no concerted effort. There is no coordinated effort to sideline anybody in the NPP or to sideline any region or any segment. It is a ruling party. It is in charge of resources. It is at its disposal. It has a lot of opportunities. And there may be competition for those opportunities and competition for those resources. And when these opportunities are being disbursed, or the resources, not everybody will be a beneficiary at the same time. So those things can create some kind of resentment and feeling of being sidelined. But in reality, nobody is deliberately being sidelined. And the party, in the manifesto, the word all-inclusive is very bold.
Very bold, yeah.
And I think that is not only applicable to the government, but also applicable to our party. So if people feel sidelined, we've had this, and we do everything.
That's the vision.
Exactly.
A peaceful, democratic, and inclusive Gambia.
Exactly. A peaceful, democratic, and all-inclusive Gambia. This, not only we will apply this to the governance, but we apply this to our party operations. So
who is financing the NPP? On Sunday, you gave out motorbikes and vehicles, and people are like, wow.
Yeah.
Who is funding the NPP?
Very great, genuine, and generous Gambians. We as party members, we raise our own fund. We contribute from our pay to our national account. There are also genuine Gambians who want to donate to the party's cause, and they donate to the party. Us and those donors are the primary funders of the National People's Party. This is one party that has never taken a single government butut. In fact, the government has made it so clear that ministries, departments, and agencies are not allowed to buy fundraising tickets, gala dinners, and anything related to political activities. If NPP is conducting a fundraising and they are selling tables, the Ministry of Agriculture cannot, will not, has never bought a table, and no ministry has ever done so. You are not allowed to do so. The payment cannot be effective through the Accountant General. So I can buy a table as a minister, give the tickets to members of Ministry of Agriculture or the AI companies to attend, but not a single Gambia government butut ever invested in the account of the National People's Party.
Honorable, I know we want to end this interview, we are running out of time, without touching on agriculture. I read a press release from the Gambia for All Party, led by, Bunja Dabo, former Vice President and, of course, Finance Minister. He said the current state of Gambian agriculture is one of enormous squandered potential. He said fertilizer doesn't arrive on time. Agriculture financing is also unavailable. What's your response? We are in the farming season.
Yes. Thank you very much. In fact, when I respond to Bakari Dabo, it may sound like a character assassination. But when I read this press release, for me it sounded like it is coming from somebody who has never been in government. Bakari Bunja Dabo was a former vice president in this country. And he was also Minister of Finance. And I think he had million opportunities to have fixed whatever he is crying foul today.
Maybe he fixed it and it was destroyed under Jame?
No. But again, one thing I want to say, I don't take seriously whatever Bakari Bunja says.
But why?
Because he's the biggest betrayer. No,
he's a former vice president.
Yes, a former vice president.
He was Minister of Finance.
Yes, Minister of Finance. He was the first person to betray the Jawara government when they were removed from power in 1994 to come back and serve as the finance minister of the dictatorship.
But he would say he was just serving his country.
He wasn't serving his country.
Like politicians will say, I'm joining the NPP because of national interest. Maybe also this because of national interest.
The NPP is a party in a governance that is democratically elected, free and fair. Bakari Bunja Dabo was serving a democratically elected government of Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. When they removed them in 1994, he was the first person to betray Jawara.
So what's your response to his claim about agriculture?
First, let's talk about saying that fertilizer arrives late or if at all. Yeah. He used the word if at all. For the past 4 years, fertilizer has never arrived in this country later than April. In fact, as we speak currently in this country, today I made a press conference at the ministry, and we announced the fertilizer price. And we announced the fertilizer price at 1,100, the same just like last year. Okay. Despite all the global challenges of fertilizer. I think everybody knows the global challenges of fertilizer, given the crisis in the Gulf. So fertilizer is not only available, it's also highly subsidized, 60% subsidized by the government of President Barrow. So what?
How much are we talking about in total, the subsidy, if you are to?
$1.6
billion.
$1.6 billion, that is the subsidy. It's in our press conference today. This is, and also the most important and first ever, we've ordered 10,000 metric tons, which is 200,000 bags of organic phosphate fertilizer to be distributed nationwide at no cost to the farmers. Wow. And this has never happened in this country. This is the first time at this volume. So for Bakari Dabo to say fertilizer, arrives late, if it ever arrives, it is a farce. It means he is way out of order. He is not up to date. But again, he also said something. He says agricultural financing not available. When he was finance minister, did he work on building any agricultural bank in this country? He had the opportunity. He was finance minister.
Maybe he had the intention, but he couldn't.
Well, he wasn't there for a year, 2 or 3. He was there for over 5 years. He was vice president. And I think if the record serves me well, he had also served as an ambassador. But nonetheless, I don't want to talk about his failures because his failures are enormous. I cannot keep counting them. But agricultural financing, currently as we speak, the African Development Bank, at the invitation of His Excellency, their president was here at this dinner. And the outcome of that visit was to form GAMISAL. GAMISAL is a project currently under the ministry. GAMISAL is responsible for risk reduction, that is for agricultural financing. It's working with commercial bank to make financing available for farmers. The project is ongoing, alive under the ministry. But we also have the SDF. Now, I think it's turned into our regional rice value, deposited $3 million US there, so that farmers can go and access low interest, low cost financing at the SDF. And I know of a lot of private sector rice producers who have gone there, accessed these loans, and procured tractors, harvesters, a lot of other equipment. And these farmers are in Jali Patar, they are live witnesses. Apart from the SDF, as part of financing agriculture, the Small Ruminant Project deposited $3 million at Yona, Gambia Teachers Union Credit Union, and Salam Microfinance. These financial institutions are supposed to lend these monies to livestock dealers and livestock farmers. It was and still is a revolving fund. And this amount is still there, and farmers have been accessing it to develop their livestock sector. And so many other avenues for agricultural financing. So for them to put out a press release to say agricultural financing is non-existent, it shows his ignorance of what is happening in the field itself. And another thing that he said is the government is not supporting horticultural gardens or horticultural production. And also said if they ever come to government, which we think maybe in the next world,
you can never tell Honorable.
No, but Bibi Dabo is a spent bullet. Bibi Dabo is not the material that... Look, we have a very young generation. I mean, somebody cannot be in his 80s. Bibi Dabo is older than Usainu Dabo. So if you say that Usainu Dabo is old and angry, I mean, where would you put Bibi Dabo? I mean, it's an impossible equation.
So, I mean, you talk about the issue of the subsidized fertilizer. What mechanisms are in place to ensure people wouldn't come and buy in bulk to go and resell it at a higher price? Yeah. That would definitely defeat the purpose of, yes, of the government subsidizing this fertilizer.
That's true. Today,
or might even take it across the border.
In our press conference, we made it very clear. The government approved price is 1,100. The dealership are all the government SECOs and approved private dealers, approved by the National Food Security Corporation, formerly known as GGC. These centers also, nobody can buy more than 25 bags. That's the maximum threshold.
Some people can use proxies, Honorable.
I understand.
I can come and use you to go and buy 20 when we give money to someone to go and buy, and then...
Yeah, but that just shows then there are very bad players and they are citizens. But in our press conference, we've also urged, by this press release, the police,
sorry,
the immigration, GRA, chiefs, governors, Alkalolu, Gambia Farmers Union, to halt any fertilizer that is outbound in this country. So any good citizen can halt fertilizer that is outbound out in this country. And I think it is going to be our responsibility, because every bag of fertilizer, you, me, and so many other people, if the farmer spend 1,100, you are potentially spending 1,900 in that bag, because the bag...
Wonder if we can wrap up 2 minutes with...
It's almost $3,000 per bag, highly subsidized. So we have urged all these agencies to play critical role in ensuring that fertilizer does not cross the border. And anybody purchasing beyond 25 must apply at the ministry, and we must clear you in writing to GGC to authorize for you to buy more than 25 bags.
Finally, Honorable, your message to NPP supporters ahead of the election?
Is to stay steadfast, stay united, stay committed, but stay with humility and reach out to every other Gambian that is at voting age. Whether they are supporting NPP or not, reach out to them. Sell the agenda of President Adama Barrow. President Barrow has done thousands and thousands of things in this country, from energy, agriculture, health, education, to you can name it. Go and sell the agenda of the president. Be as peaceful as you can be. Be as peaceful as President Adama Barrow, so that we can get into election December 5th, and urge every NPP supporter not to be complacent, not to sit down and say, Barrow gagné Talifokapare, Barrow has won, and sit at home and not go to vote. We urge everybody to go and vote. Not only vote, go along with your family and friends and your neighbors, and so they all go and vote. Help them, support them to get to the polling station. And so they vote for President Barrow, and wait for the results.
Thank you so much, Honorable Demba, Dr. Demba Sabally, the first Deputy National President of the ruling National People's Party, who also doubles as the Gambia's current Minister of Agriculture. It was good to have you on the State of Affairs program. Thank you so much for coming, Honorable. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end to this week's edition of your weekly State of Affairs program. Do join us next week. Until then, bye-bye from me and the entire team.